forgot.
All right. Last episode, thank God it's week 6. We're all tired. But it's the last episode, so it's gonna be the best episode. It's the most relatable episode.
I don't want to interrupt, but I love how you start recording and then you immediately go to thank God it's the last episode.
Yes. Yeah. We've
Anyway,
covered
sorry.
everything.
Please continue. I'm so excited.
As of right now, though, all of you can take the Google certification test and pass and put that on your resume, to be honest, if you want to pay the $75 to take it. It's so simple. It's like, can you send an email and can you like name a doc? Like you can pass it. It's super easy. I only recommend doing that if you like, want to work for Google, though. It's like not really worth it. It's not. Cool. We're gonna start with Google Forms. Swarthy matching with the purple. So okay, let's start. Can you send the subtitles?
Yeah, I'll send subtitles right now.
Oh, I really hope the links work.
I like checked them right before this.
Oh, cool. Thank you. All right.
Get forms.
All right. So your subtitles should look like this. Very short, 8 pages. Such a comparison to Sheets. It's really great. There's a lot of images today on the forums. So we'll go over some basics. The theme of today is really just like personalization, like Google Forms, Gcal, and Gmail, all of like how you want to use it. And like it's just about like once you know the basic tools, like just like fuck around and like do whatever you want, to be honest. So let's have my test form here. Definitely name your forms better than I do, to be honest. But you know, you can add questions. We'll go over the different types and like when you want to use it, which. But most of the time, you're probably just going to use multiple choice or short answer or paragraph. Super cool thing I really like to do with like at least the paragraph is you can do data validation with your or like response validation. And so you can like have it. If you have to be a regular expression, you can make sure like it contains like an email. So you, like if you have a form collecting email addresses, you like need to make sure it's like an at something email.com or something like that. And then you can also, I think, pretty sure you can do like character counts. So like if you have an essay like things like you can't exceed more than like 1,000 characters, like response validation will like do it for you. And then if they like if your user does like exceed 1,000, then like they'll tell you like you're going past. So that's really cool. The next thing I want to go over is how to like do conditionals in Google Forms. And so like, let's say we have like a multiple choice question. We'll just have to be like, yes, no. And then I always like to add the other just because like, why not? And so if you do go to section based on answer. And so like, if I had someone say yes, like I'll have it jump to like a specific section. And so this is how I did like the correct feedback form. If like they said they were like a judge, they like went to the judge section, like specific judge questions, or if they were like a mentor. So that's pretty cool. It does mean you have to kind of have a lot of sections in your forms, but it's no biggie. Forms just split it up and then you'll be chill. Few things form like this because this is how I find all my spelling errors. Because Google Forms is not very good at like spell check, and it's not very good for multiple people at the same time. It's like a bit laggy. It's working on it. Except Google Forms isn't like where Google's putting their like effort, which is fair. But yeah, check your form. When you send links, make sure to send this link right here and not the link you have for it in your Google Drive, because then they're going to ask like for permission, and then your form is just going to be invalid, and you're going to be like, bro, like that kind of sucks. That's Google Forms for you. Like you can like make it different colors, like you can make it a quiz if you really want, like who's using the quiz on Google Forms. I do want to go over like a few add-ons, and so you can like go over here and like add on like cool things. A few that I really like for the add-ons is actually like all the way at the bottom. They'll have like links to just like different things you may need. Like who knew that if you wanted to like schedule times and like you have like a choice eliminator, so like people, when someone schedules like an appointment with you at 9 a.m., like no one else will be able to like see that option available. And so there's also like really cool add-ons to like help you organize your sheets. This is where Sheets is so good. Like you can sort, you can filter, you can do conditional formatting, which I don't really like that much, but it still does. So good. This is where you can use Sheets, utilize it everywhere. That is all I have for forms. It's pretty simple. Do what you want with it.
I have a
Christine.
question.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Sorry, I clicked on the link to the add-ons and it's taking me to the form you just made, I think. I don't
What?
actually know what's happening.
To the add-ons.
I was like messing with it.
Oh gosh. Oh, maybe that's just the first one. No, it's all of them. Whoa, this is crazy. Let me figure this out.
Okay.
Oh, because it takes you to. Oh, I know what's going on. Okay, I'll fix that. Because I think it takes you to a form to add the add-on. Because you add it on the form. Like if you click it, here, I'll show you. This is the view, but if you go, because then, so if I go to three dots and then add-ons, it'll take you to Google Marketplace, and then here you can do it. I think that's why it links to a form.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But you can
thank
always
you.
add it. So yeah. Also, like some of these reviews on Google Marketplace are like kind of funny to read, and so I definitely recommend doing that. Like some of them are just like really just like nailing Google in the head. It's just like kind of funny. But yes, that is Google Forms in a nutshell. Christine, you can take it from here.
Yeah. Okay, so we had like a practice sheet for like stuff that you guys might want to do as like exercises, like on forms. I think Gcal after this and then Gmail. Yeah. But okay, should I just start my next section right away? Okay. So I'll share my screen this time then. Yeah, I have split screen just because it's like easier to follow along with the subtitles in real time. Basically, okay, why I use Gcal? Because odds are we'll all be using Google applications a lot more in the future than like any other, I don't know, like Microsoft, whatever applications. Like who actually uses Microsoft Outlook? Vivian, no, I see you disagree.
I don't use Outlook, but I don't use G Suite. And I would, you know, if we have time after this, I'll go into my anti-G Suite rant. And I wish Armani was here to hear that, but we'll cover that at the end.
We will listen to it. We'll probably support it. But okay, Google honestly holds like a certain grasp over as well. Okay, whatever. I won't get into it right now. So Gcal, I think everyone knows how to use Gcal kind of, but like just to go over the basics of like setting up an event, you can either like create an event from here, which is kind of, oh, someone else came. Okay. Oops. I'll continue on with like what I was talking about basically though. So you can create an event through here, or you can like just click on certain like, I don't know, boxes within the Gcal, which is honestly probably easier than creating from like that. So basically to create an event though, there should be a pop-up. And the only reason why I have, the only reason why I have these two specific calendars checked is that because if I don't have them there, then once I click on like creating an event, like these two tabs just straight up don't show up. So like you can choose between events, tasks, and reminders. Customizability generally decreases from going like left to right. There's like 80% of the functionalities you have in events you can't get for tasks, and like even less so for reminders. But basically, just to go over like how to set up like events, there's like you can obviously, okay, let's just like say if I want this event to like be repeating, right, like every single week, there's like presets that like let you do that like weekly on Tuesdays, but honestly that's probably not a very good idea because it sets the event weekly to like for the rest of your life across your like entire Gcal, and like obviously you don't want that because in the future it'll be like hella cluttered, right? So what you want to do is like go into custom, which lets you choose like every week, and it also lets you choose like certain days of the week. But the most important part is that it lets you choose like an end date for the event. So like after a certain day, like for example, if I was setting this event, oh, Karina just came too. If I was setting up this event for like, I don't know, a lecture, then I'd be able to set like an end date on, I don't know, like what is it, June 15th? Honestly, couldn't come any faster, but um, yeah, so that's a function. And you can obviously also add people with like what Vivian said earlier with, I guess, through contacts by name or by email. Yeah. And I think, okay, just scrolling down to actually catch up to what I'm talking about here. Um, with invited guests, you can, okay, I'll just like invite myself, my like professional email. So you're able to set guest permissions so that they can modify the event or like invite others or also like view anyone else who's also being invited to that event. Usually you're able to see the calendar of like the people that you're inviting next to your like event itself, but like for some reason sometimes it just doesn't do that, and that's just marked by the asterisk. And the people who are confirmed to be coming and have like a check mark, like a green check mark, unknown is grade question mark, and like can't come is like a red X, I think. If you're on the side of the people who are like being invited to an event, there's like a easy, I think, pop-up that like appears at the bottom of this bar that says like going, yes, no, maybe, and depending on like your availability, you check whichever applies. It also like auto updates, you know, the people who are actually coming. Wait, no, I don't want to delete them. But okay. So moving on to the next part. Okay, I don't know who realistically uses Google Meets ever unless you're like a Google employee, but that's like a function, I guess.
No, a lot of businesses actually have bought G Suite lately, instead of like Microsoft, and so they use Google Meet.
What? Okay,
You
wait.
said it yourself. It's in the future, Christine. Like,
Oh my God.
Zoom's not going to survive after this bet. Like, it's going to be Google Meet.
Really?
I have a feeling. Yeah,
Okay, okay.
Google's taking over, dude. Like, it's scary.
Maybe I should take your advice for like things like stocks. Anyways, Google Meets. That's there. Up to 100 participants. That's what it says. If you use any other like virtual meeting software, so like Zoom, like a normal person, you would add the Zoom link. You would add the Zoom link here. Or if it's like a actual in-person event, obviously you could also add that there. Descriptions are generally used to like take note of like what's actually going to be happening throughout that event, or like things that you need to be prepared for. And attachments, I guess, like if you want to directly include the files that you have on your drive into the event, then that's also an option. Yeah, and just this like final part for setting up events, you can choose the calendar that it falls under. And you'll see that like before I'd set this under extracurricular commitments, like this wasn't there. So what it does basically is that whenever you're choosing like a event to sort it under, I think it like auto refreshes with like with all the other events in each calendar showing up alongside it, just to make sure that you aren't overlapping anything. But regardless of whichever like calendar you're choosing it under, you can like change the color of the event if you want. And there's also like the most important part probably is like adding notifications. You can set them to appear like, you know, any of these preset times before, or like custom, or like if you want a notification to pop up a week earlier prior to the event. And you can also have multiple notifications. So if you really want, you can set like 5 different like alerts happening 30 minutes before the event. But okay, that's up to you. That's up to you. And yeah, right before you like save the event, if you've shared the event with like collaborators, you're given the option to send emails. Obviously, if you're if this is like a event that you're sharing across, like, I don't know, people who might have forgotten that this is a thing that's actually happening, you'd want to send as an event. But in my case, since I'm sending to myself, I don't really want to spam myself with extra emails, so I won't be sending. Yeah, I think that's generally it for sending events. Oh, you can also though set these, like there are more options, I think, that you can like choose whenever you're editing, but I don't think anyone like uses, yeah, see, like if you make it pop up in like that way, like in full screen mode, then you can choose like Rsvp mode. And I think there's like a few more functionalities that are covered in the subtitles, but generally you don't really need them. And I'll just go over calendars for a bit. So Google just really likes stupid naming conventions. So Gcal is the name of the Google application itself, and a calendar is the name of like the separate, I guess, calendars you have inside one Gcal. So I've checked here extracurricular commitments because that's what that's the new event calendar. And reminders and tasks, like I said before, I only have them checked because the only way for them to show up when you're creating a new event is to have them pre-checked. But on like just a general like entire Gcal though, a few settings that can change is obviously like, you know, the mode that you're seeing it in, day, week, month. I think you can also like make a custom like preset of like the certain days that you want to see in a week. You can hide and like view all the calendars that you want to see. And you can also like navigate to and from like the next weeks and previous weeks. But honestly, I think the easier, faster way is just to click through like weeks that are happening like in this calendar that shows up in the side menu here. I think that's how it pops up. Yeah, and you can also choose the like way that each of these events are presented on your Gcal through density and color. I think that's like modern with white text is, I think it automatically like sets the like color, like the font color that these events are in, just to, like based on like whether they actually whether the event is like pre-completed or not. Yeah. Oh, and I can't emphasize enough the importance of like having organized calendars. Like, okay, so it's not really an issue for, I guess, like when you're just starting off, but if you want to see like, for example, only like lectures and discussions, or have like some sort of like club that you're involved in that has like a bunch of events, and that you don't want to see like all of your things like cluttered up in one Gcal, it's like really essential for you to be able to classify the events correctly when you're actually making them, and set like appropriate calendars for like things like even like I don't know, like working out. That might seem like something you'd be able to put into like a reminder, which I'll cover later, but it's sometimes helpful to be able to have the customizability of events within what is it, like one calendar, so that you don't have to mess with, you know, reminders. And just general settings for calendars though is that, okay, if you go into each of these calendars and go into settings and sharing, you'll see that there are a few basic like just settings components of like calendar settings and sharing permissions and notifications. So calendar settings are just like, you know, setting names and descriptions, time zones, and access permissions on is kind of like where sharing permissions goes. And event notifications is its own thing. There's also like a few links, HTML links. Oh my God, I can talk. That lets you integrate the Gcals into, I don't know, whatever website that you might be making at the time. Like, I don't know who realistically use that, but that's the thing. And those three are all options for you to choose from if the calendar is like your own, and basically if it's your calendar. But in the case that it's like another calendar that's been shared to you, and you don't have like ownership over it, I think you're only able to change the notifications and shared permissions. So you have access to the embed link and like the automatic notifications that you get from any of the events that fall under that calendar. Yeah. And managing events are like pretty much the same as, you know, creating new events. They're pretty straightforward. You just like click this, set the event. You can change anything you want. Deleting events whenever. I think if you delete recurring events that have like, what is it? People that you share the event with attached to them, I think they get an email for every time you do that. So before you delete recurring events, it might be helpful to like take off the people who are like, who've been shared that event before like deleting, especially if it's recurring, because I think they get emails for like every time you do that. Yeah. Other options for events though is that if you go into like the top bar, 3 dots. Realistically, the only functionalities you'll be using from here are the duplicate and then copy to like other calendars and maybe changing owners. Duplication is like, it copies the event word for word, but like I said earlier, you want to avoid that in like most cases because you'd probably be able to customize it through like the times that you set. And copying to calendars is useful for like housekeeping purposes. Basically, if you have like repeating events occurring across like several different calendars, you'd be able to access those. Or if you like realize that you've set an event to be in like the wrong calendar, you can switch that around. And you can change owners as well, I think. And the person that you're giving ownership to doesn't have to be a previous collaborator or like a guest invited to the event. So yeah. Yeah, just general tips for GCal though is to like start small, especially since it's like using GCal is kind of a thing that you get out of like habit. So I'd suggest that you like take the time out of your day to maybe just like set up a few events for and like create a few calendars, just mess around with like all the things that you can do with GCal and like make that a regular thing. Like just don't have that happen like in one sitting and just like leave it be because you won't look back at it again. But just like make sure to update it regularly, like check on it at the beginning of every week or so. And also plan for the future, like the time customization, especially. That's something that can be easily looked over, especially since Google has like a preset of having it happen every week that like seems pretty convenient, but just simple things like setting an end date will like really help you in like the long term. Okay. And moving on to like the next like intermediate section, going over tasks and reminders, which are both really inferior. I don't know why anyone would use them, but tasks basically are like they let you set up events, like not even events. Why do I keep calling them that? But they don't have like a set end time for some reason. So you only set like a start time that the task happens from. And I guess the perk that it has over reminders is that you can add like little sub like notes in this description, like detailing, I guess, what specifically you'd have to do within that task. You can set it to happen all day if you want, like, so it just pops up here instead of at a certain time. But yeah, that's pretty much all you can do with the task. And a reminder, the perk of a reminder is that you can set it to repeat, but you can't have like, what is it, like a description underneath it detailing like what you actually have to do. So this would be for like really minor events, like, I don't know, take out the trash, like every, I don't know, week or something. And so you can set that to happen at like a custom date again, or a custom repeat. Something to note about the reminders that might have like overlapping times is that sometimes they'll show up in the case that they repeat, they'll show up like in this format. So, okay, I don't know if I can like zoom in, but this is basically 2 reminders stacked on top of each other. So like I have a reminder 1, reminder 2, and like the way that you can edit reminders in the case that they do overlap is just that you click on, you know, the pencil next to whichever ones and just edit it from that pop-up there. And notes and to-dos are kind of like just sidebar things, like I think we explored in previous Google applications, but basically they're like integrated across your entire Google account. So you can set up things based on like things that you have in your Keep, or in the case that we do go in person or like you have an in-person event, you can easily search up things from maps and then, I don't know, copy that location from there into an event here. And for advanced, there are just like some Decal extensions that I think are pretty popular amongst like college students, like When to Meet and Calendly. When to Meet is like basically essential for any like club activities. I think everyone knows what that's like. Calendly though is like it basically lets you set up like an office hours sort of situation. So I think when you start using it, it gives you like a free trial. And so you can set up like 15, 30 or 60-minute meetings, I think, based on the information you give to it by signing into your Google account on your Gcal. So it like automatically sets up the times that are available for other people to book based on the information you have linked in your Google. I think the only difference though between the free versus like the paid plan is that you're only able to select one kind of like 15, 30, or 60-minute slot after that runs out. But yeah, it's pretty useful, I'd say. Okay. And yeah, I think that's it for GCal. So continuing on to, I think, Gmail. Wait, let me get this bar out of the way. Sorry.
Christine, you can also make a calendar in Sheets.
You can make a what? What
I've been
the heck?
trying.
Oh my god. Wait, and it's been successful?
No. We're still working on it.
Okay.
We're getting there.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, if this loads properly, I will start. Ignore all my emails, please. Okay. So again, kind of like GCal, we'll start off with like the basic functionalities of Gmail. Writing an email. So just to break down all the things that actually pop up when you're composing a new email. So obviously there's the two, like sending like carbon copy. I think BCC is like, I don't remember. Oh, blind carbon copy is what it stands for. BCC just doesn't, I think it privatizes all the emails that you send to, so no one else can like see who you've sent the email to. And CC is obviously to like secondary emails. Text formatting is, yeah, we'll just like go through from left to right what each of these actually do. So there's obviously undo, redo, font selections, font size selections. Unfortunately, it doesn't have the same customizations as like docs, sheets, whatever, but it gets the job done. And there's also like just basic formatting, text color, background color. And the drop down arrow just like lets you do other remove formatting, strike through quotes, and then just tabs, numbered lists, and also alignments. Something that remove formatting automatically happens for is if you switch to a plain text mode. So plain text mode, basically the only difference from like rich text mode, I think. Yeah, I think you'll see that it briefly shows that it switched back to rich text, is that plain text literally just does not support formatting. So like all the fonts or like font sizes that you have are just like reverted to their basic formats. And you can also include attachments to emails, like insert links, using who uses emojis in emails, honestly, but like if you want to, that's up to you, I guess. Okay, and you can also directly link files from your Google Drive. So attaching files would be from your computer. Inserting files using Drive is just something that you can like do directly from your Google Drive. You can also insert photos, and confidential mode is basically just, okay, turning it on lets you know that the people that you're sending it to can only see the email for like a certain amount of time, let's say like a week-ish. And after that, the email automatically like unsends itself. It not unsends, but it's not available through all mail or like archive. It just like straight up disappears from the recipient's inbox. And you can also require that people use a passcode to access the email. They'll also only be able to literally like read the email. They won't be able to forward, copy, whatever, print, download, or share the email anyways. I don't want that, so I'll turn that off for now. And these three dots here in the bottom right, they basically just like let you edit your email in full screen rather than like as a pop-up. You can also do that with that, what is it, like button there. And you can also choose to classify your email to send as like a default email label. So you can label under like, I don't know, updates, social. There are a few labels that I think are preset for every Gmail account. Like I think social and like promotions are definitely things that are in like every single Gmail inbox. So that's also an option. I think I've already covered plain text to rich text and vice versa. There's also, you can like print emails, which I don't know why you'd want to, but that's an option. Spell check is also available if you want, but if you have extensions like Grammarly, like that's kind of redundant. Smart Compose feedback. Smart Compose is basically just when you're writing an email and you have like the little like gray text that happens, that like shows up after you write like a certain phrase. That's like smart text. I mean, Smart Compose. So if you have anything to talk about that. And inserting signatures, that's also an option. I think I'll cover signatures later, but they're pretty useful for like if you don't want to write out, like a from whoever every single time. You can also schedule sends for any emails. So that'd be like, oh, okay, I'll send this to myself then. You can schedule a send for when you don't want to look like a psycho and you've written the email up at like 4 a.m. and you want to have someone read it at like 8 instead. I don't know. Or if you're like a normal person and like just want to get the writing the email part out of the way as soon as possible, that's also an option. Yeah, and after, okay, I'll just like send this to myself right now. But right after you send the email to yourself, you're able to undo for like a short amount of time. And you'll see that like after like a few seconds, the option will just straight up disappear. And it's just like to address common errors that you'd find, like typos or like forgetting to add certain recipients or like forgetting to add, I don't know, like attachments to email, things like that. But like the undo window has like such a short period of time that you're able to do that for, that it's just really essential that you look over the email like 3-4 times before you send it. Like, not to stress you out like a lot for it, but like I have made my fair share of mistakes that I haven't been able to catch with undo, and like just make sure you do that. I think you are able to change the undo window though, and I think the way you do that is that you just go into CL settings, and there's under like the general tab, there should be like a undo send. What is it? Setting here. I'm not sure how far down you have to. Yeah. So undo send right now is set to 5 seconds, but I think there's a max of like 30. But again, like the units is like hard coded as seconds, so the time is pretty limited. And also make sure to save your settings after you've changed that, or else it won't update. That's not a thing for like any of the other Google application settings, but for some reason Gmail requires that you do that every time. So after this loads, I'll go into managing your email inbox. So yeah, just basically highlighting important emails you can do with like labels. You can just select, I don't know, some of the emails that you want to put under a certain label. And once you do that, you're given this option to click on a label and add to, I don't know, for example, I'll say create new again. And so with that new label, I'll be able to add, that as like a tag of sorts within my inbox. And if I scroll down to here, I'll see that there's like a new label created that's titled like what I gave it. And from here, I think you can also, oh, great. If Gmail would cooperate with me, that would be great. But anyways, you can change the colors and certain other settings of the label as well if you want to give it like sub-labels and stuff. And you can also mark emails with, starred and important. But generally, I would like err against that, because sometimes like Gmail auto selects the emails that are like marked as important, and like that makes it a hassle to sort through. And starred is like not the best way to also look for emails, since you can't like sort emails by like certain importance. Like that's kind of limited functionality as well. You can also do things like muting unimportant threads. So it works regardless of like how many emails have been shared between you and the sender. So if it's like a one-time email thing, you can still mute the thread. So let's go into this. You have to go into each individual thread though. That's like the thing, is that you can't select multiple emails to mute at the same time, which is kind of unfortunate. But so to mute each discussion, you just go into the top like menu and then select mute from here. I think with the emails that you've gotten like several, what is it, like shared messages from, like right now, this is like 2 emails, right? So you can select a mute from, oh, it didn't work this time, but I think generally you can select like what message to mute from. You can also mark certain emails as unread. So it's just, this one you can check multiple emails for. So you just do that, and like if you want to check individually, that's an option, but you can also just multi-select from here. And also spam. Oh my God, spam is such a pain in the butt. But basically spam, you can't trust because it's like, it like learns based off of your preferences from like the effort that you put into putting things in spam, which is honestly, sometimes it doesn't even end up working out. So for most things, I would like suggest like putting them into like a filter, like labeled spam maybe, or just straight up like unsubscribing from certain services that like send you a lot of emails. And just to go over some quick settings that like don't go into like the see all settings here, which is a lot of stuff, honestly. There's just like view formats of default mode, which shows like attachments comfortable. I think shows attachments as like a paper clip on the right side of the email subject. And compact is just a pain in the butt to see. So I don't know why anyone would use compact, but that's up to you too. And themes basically set the background of your Gmail inbox and inbox types. Default basically just shows emails from the time that they're sent. Important first sorts, and these are like the other ways that you can generally see things in your inbox. Reading panes are kind of like, reading panes let you see emails alongside your inbox. So if I check like right of inbox, okay, I won't because it wants me to reload again. But basically it lets me read like a email like on this side while I see everything else on here. And email threading, conversation view just enables things to be like, what is it, like condensed into one email. So it wouldn't have like this number 3, it split this up into 3 separate emails. And I think, yeah, since I said I'd go over signatures, I'll just go over quickly what that looks like. So you go into the CL settings here, general, and I'm sure you guys saw it from earlier, but basically you can just add signatures from here. This is like my default on my personal, but you can always create a new signature, title it like, I don't know, something new. Yeah, and you can like format it to whatever you want. Generally with like an official email, you want to include like your actual email address, even though that might sound redundant, it's useful to have. I think I have my phone number, and yeah, any other contacts that you might want to include in every email that you sign off with is generally a good idea to include on your signature. And I think that's it for my section. So I'll just hand it off to Vivian.
All right, so I get the super fun part of Gmail, which is the settings. So let's expose my inbox right now. All right, let's go to settings. Okay, so when you first open it, it's a lot at once. But Gmail is, I think, the nicest out of all the G Suite ones, that they always have this like little like learn more link for you. And so like if you really don't know what's going on, like you can just like click the learn more. I would definitely make sure you do your undo to like 30 seconds at least, just in case you need to use that. All of these are just kind of like on or off personalization, how you want things. I would definitely suggest grammar and spell check and autocorrect keep on. Smart reply is like, it's like, okay. I'm gonna disagree with Christina on the stars. I think the stars are great. You can have different colored stars. I can't see them, but you can. And so you can use that. And so you can use like all the stars, some of the stars, like these are yellow bangs. Like I don't know what that is, but you can do that. And then make sure you definitely save your settings if you change them. But this is general settings. So these are like easy, kind of easy to understand, like very like surface level sort of. Okay. Okay, but we're gonna go into important things in settings. So your labels basically shows you like what you see. So if you really don't want to see your like starred on like this sidebar, like you can hide it and stuff. Categories, if you really don't want to see your promotions, that like usually pops up right here, like you can hide it and just like not see it. I have 2 labels in mine. I have 3, I guess. I should probably do better with my labeling, to be honest. And so you can, enable, this is more of like your quick settings, but I want to go into like account stuff. So you can change your name in your email. I'm pretty sure that's pretty simple to like understand. But other people, if I'm taking an example from like Sweet, like if you email someone from Sweet and like then they change board positions and like so now it's a new person, and you go email them and it's like the old name. That person may have like changed their name like within their own email settings, but it's really just like being kept in your contact book. And so like if you notice like from Gmail, you kind of almost have like this like autofill thing like happening. So when it autofills, it basically means that like they have that email and that name saved for you. And so to like change that, you have to like go in like your contacts and like change it, which is like kind of annoying. And I'm trying to figure out like a new solution to it. But I will figure it out eventually. I'm gonna go to filters and blocked addresses. I'm not gonna open the tab to like reveal like what I have blocked on my emails. So I'm not gonna open that tab. But to speak very generally about like filters, you may have noticed like this pattern recurring in like G Suite where you have like this like show more search options in your mail. This is super helpful for like when you don't exactly like remember who sent you an email, but like you remember they talked about something. And so you can like have the words, which is like super like convenient. Like most of the time like I search for like Zoom links in my email. And so like that's super helpful. What you can do, what I like to do with filters, if we think about it very like similar to sheets, like you're taking things and like almost like dividing up into like subcolumns. I filter all my newsletters to the newsletters tab because it's just like super convenient. And so if I like open my newsletters tab, it's like all my like club stuff. And so how I did that was like I would like go to filters and like if I saw the word like newsletter, right? I would click this button like create filter. And then like I can like apply it to like multiple things. So I can apply the label like newsletter to it. Basically, you can forward it to yourself or to like a different email if like that's what you choose to do, or always mark it as important. Basically, filters are how you can just like quickly organize your email. They're probably the most important thing in Gmail, I would say, to like understand and to utilize like on a daily thing. Because I know that like auto forwarding yourself emails from like a different email is like super convenient sometimes. And so that's probably the most important thing you need to know in settings. Let's go take a look and see if there's anything else I want to talk about. Add-ons, Grammarly, like the only thing you ever need in your life. Chat and Meet, I don't really use that. Maybe you do. That's cool too. Advanced, you can create like templates for your email. So like this is kind of where I see it with like small businesses. Like when you get asked the same repetitive question like over and over, like what are your store hours? And you can automatically like set a template to like reply to them. And yeah, themes and stuff. I could cover POP and IMAP, but I do not think it is personally relevant to college students to use POP and IMAP. It's basically just like, it's more of a business email thing where it's like, do you see your email on like multiple devices and stuff like that? It's not super cool. It's actually quite boring. It's like more of an IT thing with email. And so it's like not really helpful as a college student. General thing I would say about Gmail settings, be careful what you click and what you don't click. Do clicks one at a time, because then you're going to be like me and just like fuck around with all my settings, save them, and then not realize what I did and not like what I have and be like, oh shit, like how do I get it back? And this is the part, there is no undoing your settings. So now you have to go back and be like, what did I click that I did differently and I don't like? And so definitely do it one by one. And most of the time, like you don't need these settings. The normal way you do Gmail is just great. And so if you want to change it, go ahead. Be careful. You got warned. That is it for Gmail. I like to do it quick. There's not much to talk about in settings, to be honest. Just be careful. Be careful with settings is my general line. With all settings, to be honest, all settings, not just Gmail. So yes. Is that everything we have to cover today?
Yeah, that is.
Okay. Awesome. Are there any questions about anything? I know we went really fast, or at least I did. But yeah.
Could you put the calendar and Gmail subtitles in the chat?
Oh yeah.
Yes, I can.
I missed them, but
I'll take the calendar subtitles, Vivian.
Okay. So yes, those are subtitles. They actually go into a lot more detail about like settings and stuff in Gmail. Like that's what like you're super into. But yeah, that's really it for G Suite. It was a really great 3-part workshop. We hope that you learned a lot. But now you have all the subtitles to do it all.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then if any of you like want us to like re-email you like the subtitles, just like reach out to us, and we'll send it your way because there's quite a lot of resources that we provided you, and so we just want all of you to have it. And so yeah, that's really it. If there's any questions about G Suite in general, sure, Christine and I know something about it at this point in time. But if not, I can. Yes.
Oh no, I was just gonna like flip the feedback form.
Oh yes.
Oh my god, I can talk.
I got you. I'll send the link.
Okay.
Yeah. End of the time. Been a nice 3 weeks. Long
Yeah.
3 weeks.
6 weeks, right?
6 weeks. You're right. Yeah, 6 weeks.
Yeah.
But it's been fun. So yeah, that's really it for us. If you have any questions about anything sheets related, anytime.
Just hit us up. Thank you
Yeah.
guys for all coming out.
Yeah. Christian, can you stop the recording?
Oh yeah.